Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready for third general session. Also, I want to remind that 2 sessions will be back to back. No breaks in the middle. So, third general session is digitalization. And let me invite on the floor moderator of the session, Stefano Fasta Marzotto, Miles Manifattura, Italy.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues from Uzbekistan and from all over the world. I'm so glad to be here today, and I will talk about with these 2 friends about digitalization. During this section, we try to explore how digitalization could help the industry apparel. And digitalization holds big promises. We can speed up the processes in the industry. We can put more information on the product, create more flexibility in the industry, and save money. This is a lot of good news. On the other hand, industry, when are facing some changes, there are a lot of questions. Who will pay for the cost of this investment? The digitalization, of course, is try to give more efficiency to the process and try not to increase the prices, but save money and give more opportunity to the industry. On the other hand, we are talking also about a new possibility to use the technology also in the labeling and give the possibility to give more information to the consumer. I'm so sorry with all of you that we fell on the siesta time, but I'm sure that my colleagues, they are waking up everybody because this topic is very, very interesting. Then I will ask Nate to come and to start the presentation. Thank you.
So I'm going to start and see if everybody is actually awake. First of all, thank you again to IAF and ITMF for having me speak today, and to the Uzbek Textile Association for hosting us for this great event. But I have a question for all of you, and I want you to raise your hands if you like all the labels that are in your garments. Okay, so you are paying attention because nobody raised your hand. So why don't I see if make sure you're absolutely paying attention and ask, do you hate all the labels that you have in your garments? Okay, so people are paying attention. Glad to see that. I'm surprised so many people like the labels in their garments, but okay, so I'm going to start my presentation with a short video talking about this issue.
Are you annoyed by itchy labels? Are your tags getting longer? They are. Today's regulations haven't been updated since the 60s. Labeling regulations require the industry to produce so much label tape, it could reach to the moon and back 12 times each year. Why shouldn't QR codes, URLs, or other technologies be used directly on clothing to replace that unwieldy phone book of tags? We all expect information at our fingertips. Let's use modern technology and tools to make this information more accessible for all communities. Increase detail of wash and care instructions. Tell a deeper story of what our clothes are made of and how brands are improving the product's sustainability journey. And bonus, improve comfort. For more on why we're asking FTC and Congress to cut the tape, visit aafaglobal.org and follow along on social.
Okay, so why are we talking about digital labeling? Well, we had Dirk talk about a couple things during his presentation in the last panel. And one of the things that came up a lot in the last panel was the idea of harmonization. We know in the labeling space that harmonization has not worked. We've tried repeatedly to come up with harmonized labels. In the Western Hemisphere, we tried between the countries in North America, Canada, Mexico, and the United States. That failed. We tried to have a global agreement on care labels. That hasn't worked, and now we have a proliferation of different care symbols that nobody understands what they mean, so they're gonna have to look it up on the internet anyway, or on their phone anyway. And so harmonization is not gonna happen. What we're seeing instead is a proliferation of labeling requirements. And Dirk talked about that a little bit. Steve Lamar talked about that a little bit in his presentation with the green labeling. We're seeing a proliferation of labeling requirements. So that long label or that phone book of labels on your garment are just gonna get longer. And that's gonna cost all of you more to produce those labels, to insert those labels, to replace those labels when the regulations change, or you're selling the garment in a new country. And so we need to address that. The digital product passport that Dirk talked about in the last session does provide us a real opportunity. The European Union is going to require a whole new set of information to be delivered to consumers, but they're proposing to deliver that through a digital product passport, which is a digital label. So that is a great opportunity to try and get all the other required information put in a digital label. Fiber content, care, country of origin, the name of the manufacturer, all that other information that you're required to put on the labels today, on a printed label today, why can't we put that behind a digital label? The issue with the digital product passport is many people at the European Commission are talking about making this a digital label in addition to the normal printed labels. So actually the digital product passport, even though it is a digital product passport, can actually make the situation a lot worse. And so that's why everybody needs to step up here and start lobbying their governments, and the European government in particular, the European Commission in particular, but all of their governments to say, we need digital labels now. The technology is available now. Everybody has smartphones, so accessibility is good, and accessibility is even better with digital labels because, as I noted on the screen here, printed labels are getting harder and harder to read. The type keeps getting smaller, the font keeps getting smaller, crammed with more information. You have care symbols from multiple different jurisdictions that all seem to contradict each other, and again, you need a smartphone to look it up and understand what those care symbols even mean. And so it makes it more accessible if you can read a digital label through your smartphone, get the information in your language, the information that's relevant to your country, the country that you're located in, and you can make it as big as possible, or even if you're visually impaired, you can have it read the text and go text to voice. And so great accessibility possibilities. What is the other reason to try and move to digital labels now versus later? Is that we have a huge sustainability goal. As that video noted, we produce enough label tape every single year to go to the moon and back 12 times. That's just crazy. That is the definition of crazy. Why are we doing that? And that's just gonna get worse because of all the new regulations coming out and all the new requirements to add new labeling information. A lot of it, ironically, related to sustainability. And so let's get rid of those labels and dramatically reduce the amount of labels. Have an RFID or a GS1 US tag or a RFID tag that's maybe a few centimeters by a few centimeters big. That's much better than what you have currently. How's that also sustainable? When you have that small of a tag, the consumer is likely not to tear out or cut out the tag. So that means that garment is now probably able to be resold and used in the reselling market that's gotten much bigger, and another way to help the circular economy. It has information through that digital label that tells the recycler what the content of that garment is so that they can better recycle the garment when it comes time for recycling. And so it can do so many things for recycling and reuse and to support all of our efforts for a circular economy in a relatively cheap way. Finally, it can give you access to the consumer in a whole new way. Our members who have implemented digital labels, right now they're doing it in addition to the printed labels, have gotten great consumer response. They're able to tell a story to their consumers and reach out to their consumers in a way they've never been able to reach out to them before. They're able to do promotions, they're able to talk about the life of the garment, where the garment came from, why it's so special. They're able to provide more sustainable care instructions beyond the basics that are required under law. And so there's so much more you can do with the digital label. So with that, I'll just leave you with, if I can. Okay, so many of you signed on to a global letter that we sent last year to governments around the world. Again, my call to you is that we need to double down on the work that we did with this global letter to governments and really start lobbying hard for digital labels today. Because once the digital product passport goes through, other countries start following suit with their own sustainability labeling, that'll actually dramatically increase the amount of labels that we're already dealing with. And so we need to get digital labeling to be accepted by governments now for required labeling information. Okay, so with that, I'll just leave you with why do we need these long labels? You can double it as a beach towel as in this thing. So with that, I'll stop and turn it over to my colleague.
Thank you very much. Christian, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very honored to speak here today. About 2 years ago, ITMF awarded Color Digital for a startup company for digital efficiency to the textile industry. And I can guarantee you we have been working hard to come up with new innovations, which I will present later on, and it's the premiere. It hasn't been presented and shown before, so we will see it the first time. My name is Christian Lott. I'm responsible for business development at Color Digital. We are based in Cologne, and the topic today is about DMIX, so it's digital meta interaction, and in order to easily remember, it's like D with digital and mix. We mix best technologies in order to enable digital efficiency. And today I will present a new way to digitize material and the distribution of material data in a very easy, very efficient way and giving a full impact to the topics which have been discussed today. So what are we doing as of today? So we have three core competences. One is color technology, second is 3D material, and third topic, which becomes very important for digital product management, is the master data management. You see here some examples of customers we serve. So there are brands like Hugo Boss or PVH, Tommy Hilfiger, fabric manufacturers like Mazzotto, for example, from Italy, or trim suppliers like Armanians or Chercheur. And there are more than 300 other companies we currently serve across the entire textile chain. And what is important is why the companies use the technologies. It brings more efficiency to the entire chain. Efficiency means less costs and becoming much faster. So I would recommend an example of Mazzotto. It's on their website. You can read about a digitalization case. They went from around 4 to 5 weeks for development time to 2 to 4 days. And overall, this was a reduction of 90% of costs for sample material. So referring to the discussion we had here, so who pays for that? Bringing more efficiency in is definitely a topic to talk about later. So in a nutshell, the process what DMIX provides is this pipeline. On the left side, we start with color, which is a digital measurement. So color is a spectral value. It's not an emotion, and it's a precisely measured color, and this is distributed across then the supply chain. Also the fabric digitally made and then created into a 3D element and put onto an avatar. This is the process. What is important is that DMIX connects to various platforms. So there are many platforms in the companies, but mainly is the topic of a library. Think of your product catalogs of the fabric makers. Think of your catalog is not analog samples you send, but digital in a library element. So this brings a higher efficiency, it brings more speed in the entire process. What is new, and this is the element today, is a new device developed, recently published. It's a so-called sampler, and I will show you in a short video how it works. If the video works, by the way. So. I was so nervous to get my Uzbek welcome in correctly that I forgot the most important piece, which is the iPhone. So the entire technology is based on an iPhone set. The iPhone is the key, is the portal to the platform, and it allows a digital material creation, as you've seen here. So this device is about this size. You put the material in, no matter if it's leather, fabric, trims, lid close, push of a button of an iPhone app, and it directly scans the material in a highly efficient way and provide it for 3D processes. Yeah, very easy. So within 10 minutes, everyone in your organizations are able to do so. And what it brings is an optimized process to digitize the material in various ways, various data formats, very fast and efficient. Here are some samples. So this is a scan of a leather and a fabric, and next to it, it comes with a lot of technical details in the background, making sure that the scans directly connect to the leading software systems like CLO 3D, Browseware, Style 3D, and so on. So what it allows is, when you would like to communicate material information between the maker place and the brand customers with this device, it's very fast. In addition, and this is also a topic we heard several times today, is what about the data, the master data behind this collaboration? Digital product passport is a requirement which will change the industry. For some, it is a risk and more workload, and for others, it's a huge opportunity because it allows to efficiently connect the entire value chain behind. So, and for us, we see here a big opportunity in here, and because it is a massive game changer in the industry. Regarding the digitalization of the sampler, I will show you now what in detail this will enable and how it works. So this image you see here is completely computer generated. This is not a real picture. This is a case where a company, Maloya, outdoor brand, they created a dress for the United States biathlon Olympic team, where the entire product development is digitized, the material scanned with a sampler and created in a 3D element and put onto a digital avatar and taking photo shootings. So this means the customers, the buyer of the team, and Maloya and the material manufacturers, they could collaborate in a very efficient way in order to then change materials, designs, and so on to find this state or this level then which went finally to production. And the next examples I will show are also completely digital. This one here shows the pipeline behind. The pipeline is on the left picture, you see a so-called fitting avatar. The materials you see here stem from production processes. So what it means, this is not a nice picture or a photorealistic picture. What it means is a rendered file from production data. Precisely, the data set, the spectral value to control the dyeing process is the foundation of the color. The weaving of the material is the Penelope data set sent to the weaving machine. And the design is created in a CLO 3D design system and fused together, rendered so that as an output with AI components you see on the right-hand side that this image here represents the products, and this is ready for e-com. And the entire process here covers a range of, if companies are efficient, companies of brands and their suppliers, this can be created in less than 24 hours. This is another example of a shirt. So if you think of an idea of a new fabric, a new design, which is shared amongst the yarn maker, the weaving company, the fabric maker, the production maker of the garments, and the brand to communicate, so this image can be created in almost real time, showing that the creative idea, the impact, plus the element of how to develop this product, plus the connection to the supply chain can be on one process, one platform. And this is another case which brings me to a case of a customer company. This company used to have around 40,000 lab dips. Yeah, they are based in Europe, have connections to the supply chain, and they send around 40,000 lab dips per year back and forth by DHL Express because it was required fast. And by replacing this by a digital process, the company saved more than 1 million euro per year. 1 million euro cost savings, only DHL, no matter on materials, the working time and so on. So there's a huge potential in efficiency increase to reduce the cost on both sides, suppliers and brands, to reduce costs and become then more efficient. And these saved costs help to keep the margins up. And this works also for other product lines. For example, this one with t-shirts, sportswear, and I repeat it. So this is completely computer-generated images. So for example, if the brand wants this t-shirt in red, blue, green, black, it's a change of the spectral value measurement, which controls the dyeing unit. It's changed and the images are produced. So, and we had this test in a US brand. They tested it online, traditionally pictures taken and digitally created, so consumers cannot tell anymore what the difference is. This works also for knitting. And finally, since it shows red time, I'm at the end of my presentation. So for this presentation, the first time we have a special offer to ITMF members. The sampler device is at starting price 7,500 euro, and we would offer it in a short period then until end of November, starting from 5,000 euro on. And I would like to end with Kata Rahmat and Hayar. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. A lot of new technology that are for the industry. I don't know if there are some question. I have also one for the guys, but first, you guys.
Thank you very much. I have a question from Nate. Nate, you are very knowledgeable in this subject. So I was just checking that you mentioned that the labeling, when it goes, it can go to moon and have a circle like 12 times. But I was checking my iPhone. There is no label here. And some of the materials are coming from minerals. I mean, it contains minerals and metals, and so it requires all those things which requires traceability and all those stuff. But similarly, I was checking, when you were delivering your presentation, I was checking the trade for chapter 84 and 85, which is electrical and mechanical machinery. Now the whole trade in those sectors are more than $6 trillion. The whole trade in the world is $25 trillion. So it means that, and none of the machinery at my home and your home and anybody else's home, even chapter 87, which belongs to our car and which use metal and other materials. So none of these things have any labeling which is involved. So all of the 6 trillion, which out of 25 trillion is 25% of the world, they are out of labeling. So what is the basic procedure or the theory behind this, that textile is under so many, because you mentioned so many labeling and so many labeling procedures. So why textile is under those things, and which the other main components of the world, like chapter 84 and 85 and 87, they are not recovered under those things? Thank you very much.
That's a very good question, and we've tried to share that with many of the regulators as well. So some of those industries, some parts of the electronics industry, and actually some parts even of the food industry, which is another place where you think there would be lots of labels in terms of where the product comes from and how it was made, are able to use digital labels. So they might just have a small QR code somewhere on the phone or elsewhere, and that provides the information. But in many other cases, the difference is that the textile industry has always been more regulated because it's clothes or shoes worn by a person. And so there's a lot of concern with where the country of origin, because of the manufacturing industry, and trying to point out to people where the product comes from. So hopefully people will buy other product versus, one product versus another based on the country. Actually hasn't materialized at all, but that was the hope. And then you provide information on how do you care for a product, which is not what you need with an iPhone. There's not washing instructions for an iPhone or anything like that. And so some of the information is different. But I agree with you that why do we have such huge industries that are touching consumers every day, that everybody lives with their iPhone or their smartphone, and they don't have to deal with the same labeling requirements. And so that is an issue we've been bringing up with regulators as well.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this presentation. My question is for Christian regarding so I understand that the scanner will be focusing on the surface specificities, the texture. How do you input the movement of the fabric to be able to obtain at the end a 3D garment as well? Thank you.
There are two additional elements. One is that since it's an iPhone, it can also video the entire thing. When you place the fabric, next to the function is you move the fabric in different ways as you like it. This is then with the video function transferred also in addition to the information to the user. And the second regarding then properties, physical properties. So this is as you need to apply with standard devices currently available on the market, and we're currently are in a research project with Fraunhofer Engineering. It's a big research institute which works on simulation of the physical properties based on molecular information on the fabric. But this is next generation. I will show in 2 years. But going going back, video is, so the movement of the fabric, how it behaves, this is also saved and communicated digitally.
I'm Justin from Taiwan Textile Federation. First of all, I'd like to deliver a voice on behalf of the Taiwan textile industry to the digital labeling to be launched in the United States. It has been introduced in last IAF World Fashion Convention in Philadelphia last year. Now, we have already supported, make a report in our board. Most of this board directors in the Federation, they got one conclusion. We agree, we support. Because during the pandemic, from the beginning of 2020, many of the tier 1, tier 2, even tier 3 suppliers of textile mills, garment makers, they have invested a lot for digitalization. At that moment, people are not allowed to meeting in person. So they have to use the digital technologies to communicate. And then for data collections, and a lot of works through these digitalization tools. And such kind of efforts has been invested by a lot of money. And now we found this investment can be easily communicate to our clients, many brands around the world, and even can help the client to meet their consumers to get all the data if they require this. It's not only about how to wash the materials or how to do this, but it concludes all the information. And that's all the efforts made by the suppliers together with their client. So I think this is very good for our future in the market and also for the global supply chain. One question is, what is the legislation progress in the US? Whether it needs the federal government or Congress to approve it, and we are urging to know about it, please.
So first of all, thank you for the support, and I appreciate it. We need to turn that support into advocacy and lobbying in the government capitals all over the world. In answer to your question, many of you have heard about the US Congress in Washington, D.C. not working well. And this legislation to try and allow for the use of digital labels for care and fiber content labeling has gotten caught up in that. We also are working with a regulatory agency that we believe has the power to make the change without legislation, but they're more focused on going after technology companies like Amazon. And we have been having a lot of trouble getting their attention just to deal with this. Every legislator we've talked to likes the idea of digital labeling, whether they're Democrat or Republican, liberal or conservative, they've liked the idea, but to them it's a relatively small issue and not that important in the scope of things, where for our industry, as you noted, it's very important, and so that's why we need to bring more advocacy to the table to make that clear to them, that this is a real benefit to their consumers, their constituents, and can make a real difference. And so we are still trying, and we're hoping after the November election in the United States that we'll have a Congress and an administration that's much more willing to address this issue.
Any other question? Then I will ask something. I'm not a digital native, and my sons tell me that I'm Jurassic because I'm too slow to learn the new technology. You found some difficulties to convince the industry to change the way with new technology, or how is complicate the education of the new generation? Maybe it's easier, but the old generation, they are still in this business.
Yes. So I could answer or give one question. So from experience of hundreds of installations, we see that there's a pattern. The pattern is it is not about the technology, the function. It is more about the mindset and the willingness to apply digital tools, yes or no. And so it's more a topic of change management, how new things, new software or new tools are included in the organization. And as a summary, the tools are there, technology is there, and it's all about how to apply. And also, this is a message regarding the digital product passport. This is something which is really serious to the entire industry. Dirk said, in 3 years' time, companies who are not able to provide a digital product passport are out of business. It's not, they would like to continue, this is definite. So this means that everyone in the supply chain needs to collaborate in order to provide this. And you will see companies who are very fast to adopt because of their mindset, and other companies are very slow to adopt because of their mindset. And those with the old mindset will be out of business. This is a really risk, and on the other hand, it's a big chance for the industry. So working together in digitally collaborate, this is the topic of today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other question? I think somebody say that we are on time because then I thank you, Nate and Christian, and all of you for the patience and to be here with us tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to make some photos, right? And without the break, we have amazing subject because everybody heard about the Alisa, also Alexa, also Siri, and GPT-4o. And now the time for artificial intelligence, AI, in the textile value chain. And now I want to invite on the floor the moderator of the session, Mr. Rafael Kirvon, ABIT, Brazil. Please welcome.
Well, let's welcome everybody to our last session of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to moderate this panel on artificial intelligence in the textile value chain, a topic that is not only timely, but also pivotal for the future of the global textile and fashion industry. As someone who had the opportunity to participate in the B20's Digital Transformation Task Force, I can personally attest to the urgency of embracing AI responsibly and sustainably. This year, B20's recommendations on the digital transformations are highly relevant to today's discussion. The first recommendation is to achieve meaningfully connectivity for all individuals and businesses. This involves modernizing regulations and fostering public-private partnerships that will accelerate the rollout of affordable and resilient ICT infrastructure. In the textile sector, our sector, this means enabling small and medium-sized enterprises to access digital tools that will empower them to compete on a global scale, ensuring that the benefits of AI and digital technologies reach every corner of our industry. Equally important is addressing the digital skill gap, a critical issue in many industries, including our industry. The B20 emphasizes the need to upskill and reskill workforces to leverage digital technologies with trust. This is particularly relevant to our sector, where automation and process optimization powered by the AI are driving rapid change. Our panelist, Mr. Thomas Gries from ITA Group in Germany, will dive deeper into this topic, discussing the skills shortage and how we can address this challenge globally. The second B20 recommendation is to safeguard individuals and organizations by promoting digital trust, harmonizing cybersecurity standards, and enabling the free flow of data with trust. In the context of AI, this is essential for ensuring that innovation happens securely and ethically, both within and across borders. For this textile and fashion industry, where supply chains span continents, this global cooperation and trust in digital systems are vital for our success. Lastly, the third and perhaps the most crucial recommendation is to harness the transformative power of the artificial intelligence responsibly. AI has immense potential to revolutionize the textile and fashion value chain, from optimizing production processes to enhancing consumer experiences. But we must ensure that this transformation is guided by principles of ethics, sustainability, and inclusion. Our second panelist, Mr. Povilas Sungintas from Euromonitor in the UK, will explore how AI is already reshaping the textile and fashion value chain, touching on the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. As we explore these issues today, I encourage us to reflect not only on the technological possibilities, but also on how we can collaborate globally to ensure that AI adoption benefits all stakeholders, from workers to consumers, and is aligned with ethical standards and sustainability goals. Given this background, I would like to welcome our esteemed panelists and look forward to a dynamic, insightful discussion. Mr. Gries, I give you the floor, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, I'm also honored, like all the other guests here on the stage, to give you a speech. But then, when I prepared, I realized, why in the hell did I say yes? Because I have only 13 minutes to give you an insight into AI and textile industry. This is almost impossible. I guess you know, and I hope you know. There are books about AI. We have a webinar with at least 12 high-level experts. I will give you an insight into that later. And of course, well, if you know my vitae, I'm a mechanical engineer in textiles, yes, and I have an MBA. This is also helpful, but I'm not a front-end expert of AI. So don't expect AI wisdom from me. And please, like many of the entrepreneurs in textile industry, don't expect that you can afterwards buy some solutions for your company. It's not the way that it is buy 3, get 1 free. But I will, of course, give you a hint in which direction you should move your activities. And I will also give you 2 hints how to manage these kind of projects by human-centered as well as collaboration. So, and of course, later on, I think it's good time then to hand over to the second speaker and later on to the World Café. So just to take you on into my journey. So last year in November in China, it started because then we had already a series of World Cafes. In the series of World Cafe, the topic was AI and robotics, pretty much. And this came out of the survey among the members of ITMF. And right at the same time, you probably remember I showed you the results of this survey that even for medical doctors, AI is much better in the response, in the quality and in the empathetic response, and is also preferred by the patient. So what you can, of course, fear is that AI, is it an opportunity or is it a threat? Well, on the other hand, if I walk around in the world, in India, in Korea, Japan, China, as well as in Europe, the situation is that we have a lack of skilled workers. Especially in Europe, is very much that baby boomers like me soon will retire. I'm looking for that, of course, before I want to help you. And then, of course, but in other countries is that, of course, the textile industry has lost image against biotechnology, computer science, and whatever. So we have, even us as an institute, but everybody has to look for skilled workers. So my belief is that automation and robotics have the big opportunity to cope with the skilled worker shortage. And this is, by the way, I will give also very typical an example from production, but you also shall look into the white-collar area, because in many companies there are at least the same number of people not only working in production, but in services, in procurement, in government, and so on. Here again, some statistics. I will keep that short. This is statistics. What are the costs of demographic change, but also just to say, in many areas, traditional industries, there is a shortage of skilled worker of at least 1 to 2, and even more due to other reasons. And I know some companies which have really stopped some business because they don't get normal people, leaders, and so on. So you have to look, how can you do the same work, and even how can you have a certain degree of freedom to go for into the future, because there's also statistics, which I will quote on, that companies which do not automate now, 70% of the repetitive tasks, not only blue collar, also white collar, will not be any more competitive after the end of the decade. And this is a finding of an expert panel of architects. This is a German Academy of Science. It's not a scientific one, because it's a think tank of academics as well as of high-level industry people which worked on this study. And I will give you a short structure. If you're interested, I can give you also the link to the study. And the question is, how to can AI help for skilled labor? There are actually two main areas. The one is, of course, automation, and the other one is skill development, skill transfer. We are working, and again, I would say it's a big challenge for me to deal with that. We have, of course, a big university. Our university is leading in Industry 4.0. We are the, let's say, the center of production technology, but we have also very strong persons in AI and informatics, ICT. This is, well, if you look for scientists and front-end science, you probably don't get the answers. It's interesting, but you even get more confused on higher level. In order to provide the knowledge which is available, you need, for example, living labs, model factories. You know that. This is our industry learning center, which we run together with McKinsey, where you can dive into this world and get some impressions. But even this is not enough. We have collaborative projects which I only can to recommend for every nation to run into this direction. It's called Competence Center, Small and Medium-Sized Industries. So companies can come and we develop small projects in order to showcase what they can do. We have a large project, and here I will give you especially the hint how to manage the use of AI. This is a project called Wirksam, and of course the time is small. There are many showcases, so it's a kind of umbrella projects. Smaller companies like Heimbach, GKD, which are make technical textiles, but larger one like you know Aunde, which are the car seats. Machine manufacturers, Reiners and Fürst, which make ring travelers. FEG makes medical textiles. So the need for automation and in the process is in every sector of our industry. And it's a joint project where robotic and AI scientists or engineers working together with us as from the production management and together with people who are much more on the labor skills. Where shall I point to? So using the AI for the production. And I give you one example. This is one task, not for textile itself, but it's a textile-based product. It's a compositive wing of a car, and it has to be polished on a highly intensive work thing. And the question is, how can you do? The thing is, first of all, you have to include the operator. Otherwise, you will give him a solution which he will never use. So this is called human-centered development of the solution. One top secret. And by doing so, we understand the working process. We're testing the demonstrator. We develop the human interface because it has to be operated not by a computer scientist, but a simple operator. And then, of course, the solution is implemented. And by doing so, you can really implement a solution. So the main secret is here human-centered development of solutions, and as you have seen, a combination of different disciplines. So collaboration is the second one. The other one is knowledge transfer. If you have a lack of skilled workers, we have to do two things. One of is we have to bring in people from other industries which don't have a textile background, or you have to integrate people from other areas of the world, other areas of the society, which again don't have the skills which you need in your company. And they have to utilize AI. So there is a basic skill development, but as well a skill development of AI skills, data science, at least that you have an idea what you're doing. And here again, there are some hints what can be done. So to capture information, to provide information in the right manner, to share information, and also you have to translate information. So here there are some first tools available, but not enough. From an industry perspective, what can you do as an owner of a company? Just try. It's the same with me. I'm also not an AI expert, but I try. For example, this month, one person who is a corporate development business developer only for digital solutions. And of course, he is accompanied by somebody from outside of our industry. Otherwise, he will get lost. So you have to start small, but you have to start. You have to do partnerships together with startups, with other companies from other companies, and then at the end of the day, you have to go downtown to the place where the work is done and improve it by using AI. So this is the main thing what you have to, and of course, it can be supplied by applied institutes, by service providers. At the end of the day, the bottom line is human-centered and collaboration. Nobody of us, not even we, can do it alone. And you have to start small, you have to innovate small, and you have to invest in your workforce, and you have to be a leader in your field, and then you are attractive again for the next generation of people. Just start. Then, last but not least, this was just a short summary not more than I could do now. We have this webinar, we have just started. So there was, the first two webinars have been, the first one was introduction of AI, the second one was regulatory affairs of AI. I must say, especially after the second one, I was still confused, but on higher level. So this is a topic for its own, where even we need help. And there are three others, maybe four, to come: opportunities and risk of AI, applications in the textile industry of AI. Maybe we split this into two webinars. And then last but not least, an outlook for the future, the impact of AI on the business models in the textile industry. And I want to invite you also to follow the webinars which are soon to come. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gries. Very good presentation. Now we are looking forward to hear the presentation of Mr. Sugintas, which I immediately give the floor. Mr. Sugintas.
Assalamu alaikum. Good day, everyone. I want to first thank the organizers for inviting me and congratulate with this great event. I also want to thank everyone in the audience. Last speech of the last speaker in the last session, I know this is not easy. So I'm here to talk about AI, artificial intelligence in the textile and fashion supply chain. Again, I share the views of those speakers who say this is not nearly enough of minutes to cover this, so we cannot go in depth, but we can scratch the surface, I guess. So, okay, so this is not important. Before I start, a few words about Euromonitor to those who do not know us. So we are a market research company. We research strategical and tactical decisions now by companies, organizations, and so on. We've been doing that for more than 50 years. We research fashion industry, among others, which is obviously the reasons I'm standing here. All the data I'm going to show today is coming from Passport, our flagship database, and it just so happens that over the last few months we actually integrated AI in the search of that database. So not surprising at all. So a brief overview of what I'm gonna cover today. So the AI in the industry today and beyond, then I will try to briefly touch upon a few examples that I think are really good at illustrating the point, and then some takeaways. So I can probably just start with the most important thing. This was just mentioned almost in exactly the same words. So AI, it's not the future, it's also very much the present right now. So it is that technology, and I have, because I'm from a market research company, we sit on a lot of data, and I like data myself. I thought it would be great if I can back this up with some numbers. So what we do is the voice of industry survey. So in plain English, this means us talking to the industry experts, the companies themselves, right? And this is coming, those are results specifically from apparel and accessories industry. So this is basically what you told us. And when we ask about most impactful technologies on business over the last year, artificial intelligence was already the leading one. So ahead of Internet of Things, ahead of 3D printing, ahead of cloud computing, and in the fifth place was the generative AI. It's probably worth mentioning now the distinction to those who do not know exactly. So when we say generative AI, we mean the tools that are actually generating something. So in most cases today, this is text, obviously, but this can be pictures, and I'm sure most of you have seen those. It can even be sound. And when people say artificial intelligence, they mean something else, something usually much more complicated, such as predictive models, the recognition of patterns that a human person never would even think of recognizing, and so on and so forth. Demand forecasting, things of that nature. So 33% of the industry already said this was the most important technology. If you're interested in how your industry compares against other industries, also while preparing for the speech, I discovered some things that may be interesting, but probably it's best to leave that for the Q&A. And so let's just take it up a notch and look at the respondents' question, the same question about the next 5 years. So then we see that, AI is really very much the future. So 60% said that is going to be the most impactful technology over the next 5 years, followed by generative AI. And some of the technologies people mentioned last year do not even feature in the top 5. So we see that things are really changing. What's really interesting about AI, and specifically generative AI, is that to some degree, we all know that 2023 was the year of ChatGPT, even though it was launched slightly before. And it's one of those rare cases, I guess, when consumers started using a technology before businesses adopted it, because usually, in a lot of cases, this is the other way around. So I just thought that how about we look at the practical applications and companies that are doing that. So I should probably mention we select those use cases from a huge database that our in-country analysts collect. So there's no objective criteria. I just selected the ones that I think fit my narrative best. So the first example I want to cover is Zalando. So this is a German electronic store of primarily apparel and footwear. And what they did is they launched a fashion assistant to enable consumers to shop by occasions. And what's really revolutionary about this is that you can talk to that virtual assistant in your own words. So you don't really have to search for products across different websites with different taxonomies, and you don't know where exactly in which category your product is. You can just say, I have a wedding in Toscana, and can you recommend me something? And the robot replies. And the more it knows about you, your prior purchasing history, the better the suggestions. This is important because 76% of professionals, they expect AI to have impact on building customer services, chatbots. And if you think about how about the other 24, they say this already has happened. Okay, so again, this is not something very far in the future. This is already today's reality. What's important really is that this is powered by ChatGPT, and one of the implications for the industry is that you don't have to do it all alone. You don't have to devise it. You don't have to have a bunch of data scientists. You can just use the experts and the tools that are out there. The other example I wanted to cover is H&M's Creator Studio. So this is a custom clothing creation tool, also launched last year. And what it allows registered users to design their own garments. And what's really unique is that this is the first such a case by a fashion giant. So this is something that's being done at scale. And again, we all know how big H&M are. So this is important, and one of the implications of that is that we will definitely move away from overproduction, from mass production, from production to the landfills immediately, and so this will definitely help with reducing the waste and overproduction. What's also important is that according to our surveys, roughly 1/5 of the people, so those are the customers telling, they say they look for personalized and tailored shopping experiences. And this is important because personalized and tailored experiences means premiumization. And again, we've heard during those 2 days plenty of sobering outlooks in the sense that there's definitely a cap on demand. Demand is weak. Personalized clothing is one of the ways out of this stagnation, you may say. The application of AI, it goes way beyond the design or customer service with the chatbots. So 36% of professionals, so again, this is us talking to the industry, or the industry actually talking to us, they say that generative AI will have impact on the supply chains over the next 12 months. So 36%, like how do you read that number? Is that a lot? Is that not nearly enough? This is probably a matter of perspective. So we see that some application cases are much more likely to happen, such as analysis of customer data to create more intelligent shopping suggestions. But at the same time, 1 out of 3 is not that bad. The most likely reason we hear about such a, you can say, low adoption rate is that supply chains are complex, and no one in this room would ever dispute that. One of the counter arguments, I guess, would be how about Shein then? So this is another case study I wanted to discuss briefly. Shein is this gigantic online marketplace, and what it does, it connects the farmers with consumers directly by using the proprietary software and AI-driven algorithms. And so it scans the internet, it follows the trends, it does a lot of really interesting and complicated things, but the end result is that, this is a platform that connects more than 6,000 factories with consumers directly. And so, yeah, it was hard for them as well, but apparently this is possible. What this leads to is the ability to offer 300 new styles per day. Not per month, not per week, per day. And again, this leads to much more sales in value, well, not necessarily in value terms, but in volume terms, absolutely. We know from every single consumer industry we research, new novelties, new product launches is one of the driving factors. Any industry you take, and apparel and footwear is not different. Another interesting application of AI, so this is a Levi's tool that they developed with Google. Originally, this was created right during and because of the COVID pandemic, but then they found really great application cases for this. So a lot of data goes into that tool, such as weather forecasts, competitive information, consumer buying patterns, and what it does, it helps you with pricing decisions and demand forecasting. So how much should you charge, which store exactly you're supposed to deliver from, things of that nature. So this is really interesting and worth trying. The application, it doesn't end there, and you can probably see where I'm going with this. So we can really say that AI affects every single stage of the production, so from the design of the products to planning, to sourcing, to making, to selling, and even post-selling in terms of customer service. And so again, coming from the retail survey we did, 45% of respondents, they plan to invest strategically over the next 5 years. I don't think I would feel really great being in the rest 55%, because being behind technologically is rarely a recipe for success, right? Another example, so FiberTrace, that's a technology platform, and it allows real-time verification of products through the global supply chain. So again, traceability, a lot of discussions today and yesterday about this topic, really important, really sensitive. And the way it works is it applies indestructible, non-toxic pigments into raw fibers, and then you can trace it. It's based on blockchain technology, and if you look on the graph on the right, for reasons not investing in sustainable initiatives, we see that complexity is the #1 reason. Budgets are also something that does not help. Lack of technology. So once you apply blockchain as a technology, some of those issues they do go away. And sometimes there are technologies that can be described as solution looking for a problem. This is not one of those cases. This is something that's really working, at least initially. Sneaker Impact, it's a US company focusing on circular economy principles. And what it does, it combines AI with optical sensors. And what it does, it scans the sneakers and selects which materials can be recycled and which sneakers can then be reworn. So I guess a very practical solution. So I'll just try to summarize briefly what I just said. So probably a good way to start would be to evaluate internal processes. No two companies are the same, but as I think I just showed you, you can really apply AI no matter where exactly you are. If you're just someone who supplies the raw materials or someone who sells the end product, there are definitely applications, and most likely your competitors are already doing that. Once you do that, you can enhance the customer experience, you can definitely optimize operations, reduce waste and overproduction, but maybe just to balance it a bit, you should definitely anticipate changing regulation. A lot of talk about the regulation today. It affects AI usage as well, so privacy laws and all that, data has to be treated carefully. And then lastly, exercise your critical thinking. So AI is definitely not a substitution for human intelligence. Those databases, fast data points and so on, the chatbots, they are trained on a lot of data that maybe has some biases in it, incomplete information and so on. So you just, have to think critically. You have to use it, but you have to approach it with a sense of, critical thinking. So that would be it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sugintas. And now we are taking some questions from the audience. Any questions from the floor, please? If it's not the case yet, I will ask you, Mr. Grease. We just saw in the previous panels that some technology is not about the technology itself, but the mindset. What do you think? What skills will be the most crucial for workers to develop in the next 5 to 10 years, in your opinion, Mr. Grease?
I mentioned 5 skill packages in my presentation. So you have to know how to deal with big data. Also, critical means what is the quality of data, some AI tools, also to understand at the end also how to evaluate the results. But these are, again, technical answers. A very important skill is to work in interdisciplinary teams so that you're able to do this, yet they don't have a fear against other disciplines. You have to speak simple, you maybe have to make drawings instead of saying words, because words are in many cases used for different things in different disciplines. And you have to have a kind of explorative mindset, so that you want to try new things and not just being immediately punished. So you have to have an open culture in the company, but also in the individual people. And I think this is also, I would say, the training shall not be typically classroom teaching top-down, but very much experience-based in these kind of collaborative workspace. And so, yeah.
Any comments, Mr. Sugintas? No? So I have a question for you. AI basically have to work with data. 9% of the CEOs or CFOs tells that they don't have enough data to take decisions, especially the data that they think they need. Do you think we are prepared to have this data available, or we have to work differently in order to organize our data before getting to AI?
Yeah, so that's something that most AI implementers deal with, which is not enough data. The data is messy, the data is not structured well enough. On top of that, again, if we're thinking about different stages of the industry in terms of the value chain, what's important with specifically textiles industry is that the life cycle of the machinery is fairly long. And one of my colleagues, when I was discussing this topic with him, he said that it's gonna really take a while for the producers of textiles to catch up, because most of you were probably here yesterday when it was mentioned that in Bangladesh most of the equipment is less than 10 years old. If that equipment is today not producing data, if it's not connected to the internet, so to speak, we will have to wait for that equipment to be retired and then replaced with a new iteration of technology before this is something that, before Internet of Things as such can be implemented in that particular factory, right? So what this means is that we're talking life cycles of the machinery. As more and more new machinery is being installed, we will get a lot of data, and from that point, it's just watch out. It's just gonna go crazy exponentially. My main idea is probably that it's about the mindset, just as my panelist just said, it's this mindset of beginners that is in need, and the investment and the technologies they follow.
Thank you. Any questions from the floor?
Yes, please.
Yes?
Here.
Here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the very nice presentation. So, when this automation comes in textiles manufacturing, it took away a lot of jobs. Although textile is famous for producing jobs, mass level employment it creates, but still it took away like 10 to 15% jobs from the operational part of textiles value chain. Now with this AI coming in, what do you think that how many jobs it would take away from textiles? Because from your presentation, although you covered the customer side and the designing side of this, but textiles like spinning, weaving, knitting, processing, and stitching, there are some operational matters involved. And while you were delivering, I was thinking that it will take away some jobs from the quality assurance or through some other controlling processes which we use to control the textile mill. So what is your take on this? It will take 10% jobs away or 15%? I was just guessing like, again, 15% it will take away the jobs from the textiles value chain. What are your take on this? Thank you.
It sounds a bit like you sound a little bit like a member of a German labor union, because I think it's a total wrong idea. You have to take at least 30% of the work away, because you need these resources for the future. We don't have enough skills and time to go for the biotransformation, digital transformation. Your business is changing. You have to rationalize. You have to automate every part of your business, always. At the end of the day, I'm pretty much sure if you save 30% and more, it's not that you lose people. You can use people for different purposes.
Any other questions? There's one here. We know that in our long chain in textile and apparel, one of the major problems is the high level of the stocks. This costs a lot, trillions of dollars a year. And do you see how AI will help to reduce the stocks, maybe predicting better the consumer's behavior? Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. So just as I mentioned, what Shein is doing, and I really doubt they are the only ones doing that. One thing you can do is this trend curation, anticipation. I'm not sure exactly how to phrase that. So basically, you can do those predictive models. And as I said, one of the defining features of AI is detecting patterns that a person normally would not. Or he would be just called paranoid before he really gets a chance to prove his point, right? So you feed in a lot of data and out comes the results. I think it's just to be fair, it's worth mentioning that this is something that never be perfected fully. Just take, for instance, the climate change and the fact that, seasonality is not as it was before. So again, I work with this industry very closely each year, and I remember last year in Europe, retailers were sitting on a lot of stock, and producers also, of collections ready for autumn, but the summer was extending into the autumn, and then it's a challenge. And realistically, I'm not really sure if any AI model can help you deal with that, because as again was mentioned during the previous session, the supply chain shocks after 2022 war in Ukraine and just disintegration of supply chains, we're more or less back to normal on that level. But of course, the challenge here is to improve it. And if you really look into those topics and what the experts are saying, ever since the 80s, I guess, and ever since the Japanese perfected this whole, just in time, we are actually moving away. Like, why don't I sit on a little bit of stock just in case my supplier cannot all of a sudden deliver next week? And so it's a fine balance that every company has to find.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gries, looking ahead, what are the most promising AI-driven innovation you expect to see in our textile and fashion value chain in the next years?
Oh, what a question. First of all, I want to do Mistbuster, I don't see that AI is the only solution, because it's all about big data, that's for sure. But then you have to look for different kinds of mathematics. For example, if you take the machine data, which is very much there, it's not available, but every motor is a sensor, then you have to do something with signal processing, frequency analysis, and so on. If you take the consumer data, you have to do something about statistics before you fill it into the AI software. So it will be definitely a mixture of different mathematic models which deal with big data. So big data is a little bit overestimated. But of course, you have to look for what can you do with big data. One topic, of course, will all these topics of image processing, image creation, and so you have seen my presentation. All the colorful pictures were made by AI, full stop, and not by a graphic designer, which we had hired. So in the past, and then this is one area. Quality control is definitely one. The other one is prediction of consumer behavior from youth statistics, but also incorporating other information. And then, of course, also language processing, text processing, so to understand if you get a request from your customer, what is he really meaning and what is behind your customer. If I do go to a customer today or before, I also use AI to get more information from the internet, and it's much, in some perspective, AI is very good to get a full picture, but if you want to have precise data, AI is the wrong one. A colleague of mine, he's fluid dynamic, he always said AI should be renamed as best guess, and that's it really. It makes a very good first guess, and then with your experience you have to dig into the data and find the real data. This is, in real data, AI is very weak. So this is just the shortest answer I could give to your big question.
Very good answer. On behalf of the ITMF, I thank you both for having given up the time to share your valuable views and experience with the participants of this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm applause for our honorable speakers. Thank you very much.
So, dear ladies and gentlemen, please follow the official site on the internet for detailed information about the program of the day. Also, later you will be offered to activities outside, and we will please you to keep the warm clothes with you. And now we are ready for World Cafe. About 7 years in a row organizing interactive session. Subject is applying AI for future business models in the textile and fashion value chain. There will be the group discussions and participation in an online survey.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to this last part of the day. It will be the World Cafe. So maybe some of you are not familiar. It's going to be interactive. Professor Gries and myself, we are going to accompany you during an hour now to have some discussion still on the on the topic of technology. So the first part is a bit special. The first part is we will be asked to change the place where you are sitting. So I'm going to explain. We will come to interesting discussion at the end, so later, having question, online survey, discussion, but the goal is to be sitting at a table with people we don't know. That's how we get the best experience in these discussions with people who might think different than us. So I ask everybody who's sitting at a table with a number to get up, right? Because those are the tables that will be used during the World Cafe. So everybody has to get up. you have to come to us. We have two hostess with the numbers. Two hostess are coming to the stage right now to us. You will then come and pick up a number randomly. They hold a little ball, and then you can go back to that table and sit at that table, and we are going to constitute random groups like that. So I would be thankful if the participants would act quickly, so we can have as much time as possible for the interesting part of the World Café, which is, of course, the discussion. So our hostess are now here. I would like to ask every participant, everybody who wants to stay with us for the next hour. It's going to be thrilling, it's going to be interesting. We are going to talk a lot of topic of technology. Please come to the stage, come to the two hostess, pick up a number. Everybody who is sitting at a table with a number is asked to leave this table and come here and pick up a number. It's a lottery number. You will be seated at table randomly. So please, everybody, it's a fun event. It's going to be interactive. We will have questions. We have Professor Gries, eminence in his art and knowledge, who will conduct the entire exercise. So you are really encouraged to stay with us. I see some people behind just staying. No. You come here and come pick a number.
It does not hurt. I've been asked just a minute ago what is important for the future is you have to be open for these kind of surprises.
So the faster we go through this little reorganization, the more time we can spend having the real part of the World Café. Everybody who is still in this room, every delegate, I see a lot of people here. Please come join us. It would be nice. We also make new contacts. We get to know new people. So please come with us. Don't worry, at that time, don't worry if you are alone at the table. Don't worry, we will come to that later. Please, I invite everybody to join his table. We are now going to process to the second step. While I will be explaining it, if there is any person who still wants to join, you can still come to the hostess and then go to the table. So now we have some tables. So the idea is to be at least 5-6 people per table. That's where we will have the discussion. Five people, Professor Gries?
Yeah, this is quite good.
Okay.
So please come and join, and there are still seats free. The most important thing is that you sit in mixed teams at the table. Interdisciplinary. Yeah.
So,
please.
Okay, so we will now consolidate the table, make sure that we have enough participants. This table here, perfect. Do you know one another? Is it random? Random, perfect. Here I see we only table 5. We only have 2 people. So you can come and you can sit here at table 7. Okay? Now I see table 3. We have 4 people at table 3. How many people? Yes, 4. That's good enough. Good. Here we have 3 people, 4 people, 3 people. We have table 20. Table 20, would you come to, I don't see the number here.
9, for example, or 8. 9 is also just move. And
now we have 2 tables at 3. We have like, so would would two people from table 8 move to table 9? And one person from table, you have 5 already, sorry. So one person, table 19, you are only 3, huh? Okay, one person from table 8 move to table 19. Two people from table 8 move to table 15, you are only 3. Or you are 4. Table 15, you are 3 people, huh? So the two other people from table 8 go to table 15. 1, 5, 15. So we are more or less, I guess, yeah, it looks good. Now this is the end of this reorganization, which takes a little bit of time. Thank you for your cooperation. We will now start what's the interesting part with Professor Gries, who will explain the next steps.
The next steps is the World Café consists of 2 elements. One element is that you can vote, and this gives us numbers for what is important for the future questions, and this is, let's say, the number part of it. And this is supported by a web tool, Google Forms. You don't have to know it. There will be soon a QR code to start it, and then you can vote as you have done in many years before as well. The second part is and these questions are grouped in 3 groups, so that for each group of questions you have also not only the quoting, you can also discuss. And please, at each table, it would be good if somebody makes some notes, or everybody makes some notes. We will collect later the notes, because this will give a qualitative result, because at the end of the day, as we have done in the past, we will take the result of this round to then organize the next webinar, the next conference. So this is very important for us to see what is important for our sector and what are also the topics which we shall address in the future. So the main part is, now I have to switch. Yeah, this is. So very much the topic was, and the question already, as up to now, in many cases, AI and digitalization is very much with lean management, saving costs, and but as you know, there is much more opportunity to earn money with big data, and this is much more challenging. Saving costs and being more lean is very simple. The question is how you can earn money in your company without being Amazon, Google, and whatever. This is the QR code, very simple. Need anybody some assistance? So if you click on it, you can start it immediately. If somebody needs some help or it does not work, there are also some people who can assist you. But from experience, I know that it works really pretty well. So the first, has everybody made a photo? It seems like. So the first group of questions is, of course, what is the status of digital business models today? And therefore, the first question is, for which of the following digital business models do you consider yourself knowledgeable? So what have you not only heard, but what you maybe have also to start? And please, especially at this point, don't be shy. It's anonymous. You can even say no clue, as I would do with some of the things. Or you can say, well, we have already tried A, B, C, D, G, H, I, Y. So please click one of the...
Sorry, the QR code is needed again.
Sorry?
Could you go back to the QR code?
Okay, yeah, of course I can do. Sure.
A little longer.
Yeah.
Everybody,
yeah.
Everybody take the time to scan, and you will be directed to a web page with the question that you see on the screen. Also the same question that you have on the web page, and then you can answer directly what concerns yourself.
Yeah. it's very important that you open the tool. The rest is on the screen is just a duplication of what you can see.
So I see everyone is on his cell phone, more or less.
Yeah. Very good sign. So as I said, the first group is very much on the state of art today.
Absolutely. Maybe to help us streamline the process, as soon as you are done with there are, I think, 5 questions or 6, please set the cell phone on your table, and so we can see that the majority of people is done, and we can move to the next part. I think, Professor Gris, we won't really have to read out the questions.
No.
Maybe, yeah.
So I think I can just quick through that.
Yes.
This is the status. There are 5 questions for the status. And as Oliver has said, this is very much the same as in your tool.
I see a lot of people who are done already. We give a few more seconds for everyone to be around, to be at the end of this first sequence. This is the round 1. We will have multiple rounds. So I think it's okay, right? Anybody needs more time? Raise your hand, scream. Here we need more time here. Just 1 more minute. Thank you for your patience. Then as soon as, so now we are going to move to the second part, where you will be invited to discuss another question, but very similar, in the same family of question, discuss among you in each table. And we will, at the end, show the result of the poll that you just did with a graphical overview on the screen.
And here for the discussion, the question is, what are the biggest obstacles to really scale your digital business model in the daily doing? I think everybody of us knows that much of these things we do with data is, especially in accounting, in production management, is very much Excel-based, and that at the end is more or less controlling. So the much more interesting question for the future is how to be creative based on your data, to create new business, to create a better understanding, to create better products, and I think this is a very challenging one, and please discuss this with your table, your experiences, your questions, and also make some small notes. This will be very important for us to then design the next webinar, the next conferences, the next working groups. And I think this is of high importance because, as I said in my presentation before, and also in the introduction, there's much of AI to save costs, which can be utilized in our sector, but only a very few concepts, ideas to create money, the revenue part of it. And I think this is very important, and every small step, of course, every small idea is highly welcomed.
And maybe also look at the image here, this small GIF. We have Atlas, the god that wears the planet on his shoulder, and it's Excel, right? Ask yourself where you can have top-notch technology production lines, and you still use Excel as the main tool to run your companies. We have the technology, the technology exists since the 90s to improve efficiency in the administration, in other area of the business than production, but we all focus on production. Now the question is, will AI help us better manage our companies as well? So we are going to now start around 8 minutes. It would be, Baha, could you start the timer at 8 minutes again?
Oh, that's fine, I have it here. I will look for that.
So we're good. And importantly, you should also have a table president, let's say, who will make notes, and we will ask two tables to volunteer at the end to give a small recapitulation of their finding of the discussion. So now every table discuss, but at the end we will ask two of the table to volunteer to tell us what was the discussion about. So now we start the discussion. You have a little bit of time just between you, please. Get to know one another, get to try to understand, to answer this question, your personal views on it. Hello. Another information, we have Justin with us right here. Maybe you can come a bit closer, Justin. He's behind this study. He did all the work, and he's here to help you with it. If you have any question, just raise your hand and Justin will come. Of course, Professor Gries and myself also will work. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, not only skilled worker is short, but also time. If you come sooner or later to pity, isn't it? It's a good discussion everywhere. So, yeah. Now it is the point that I would ask two volunteer tables, to give a short summary of the state of discussion. Of course, it's by far to say that you have found the full conclusion yet, but if you would take the courage to start, is anybody willing to do so? So who wants to give a short insight on the discussions you do? Yeah, the table 15, please. Yeah. There's a microphone coming, so there is, you don't have to come to the stage. Just raise your hand and then we can move on.
Is it working? Yes.
It is working. It's very good here organized.
Okay. We had a quick talk with the friends here at the table, and in our opinion, all of us share one point. The first point from the younger at the table is the cultural clash of young people towards middle-aged people somehow, boomers and so on. This is one topic, one challenge. The second challenge is comfort. Excel is comfortable. We were talking about why staying with Excel, because it works and we are used to it. Another point is the lack of human resources, I mean digital experts. They are not so easy to find. And the last point is sometimes we have no idea about what we should digitalize. That's it. Thank you.
I think this is a very good result for this very short time. I would totally agree with all of the 4 points you mentioned. Is there any other one who wants to add something? Yeah, so here, there's table number 9, please. A microphone, please, to table number 9. Thank you. Quick delivery.
So we discussed how it's difficult for the staff and management to adopt new technologies because many of them are unfamiliar with them. And then that also follows on to lack of resources. Maybe companies don't really allocate the correct amount of resources towards this new technology. Also with physical and digital traceability, there's a bit of a clash in terms of how a company can face these challenges. And then the transparency as well. It's, when you're using a big Excel document, it's difficult to monitor exactly the amount of data. It kind of gets a bit muddled and confusing. And then that, I guess, correlates to the fact that you're already using these tools. You're used to using those old tools. Why should you change and use different tools? Mm-hmm. With something like e-commerce or new platforms, many companies feel like they're not really familiar with how they can stand out because the market is already so saturated that it's difficult to really show your company when it's already, the market is flooded with companies that are using e-commerce platforms.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I also would agree with that, and still this is a big challenge. The people are around. So, for example, my son is studying computer science. The question is how to lure him back again into the textile business. So now we come to the next round. Could I have the PowerPoint again? The results, yes. Cedric, who's the result presenter?
Yes.
So this was the first results. So we have a high degree from Europe. So we will, of course, when we analyze the data, we make a balance results in means of region and also in means of size of companies. So this is, of course, very important for us to structure. Could you scroll down, please? Where you're located. Yeah, this is also very good. Please go down because this is more for internal use. Down, down, down. So this is, of course, the first. This is also what I know from our surveys, which we made. The most of the companies in our field are in a very early stage, and I think if you are really straight ahead, you would say, well, I have no clue. So we have many companies which are looking where to start, and I think this is a very important. We have products for that, workshops for that, because you have to overcome this. The first step is the most important to enter. And now the last one, if you could give for the last one. Yeah, this is, of course, which you already implement. From data is much. From other things, it's pretty low. So this, again, is a very good indication. And last but not least, how satisfied. Neutral means if you would happy, this is what you shall be as a company owner and manager. This must be the target, and I think the people which are really satisfied or very satisfied, because I want to see in next year or the year after, I want your eyes shining when we talk about AI, and this is a way to go, isn't it? Thank you very much. The other one, I think, has been already mentioned in the verbal summaries. Thank you so much.
We can now go to round 2. We will start again with a few questions. So first, a QR code. It will be the new topic now, is the future of digital business model. So yeah, you're invited, you know the drill. Take your cell phone, reach the web page. You're going to be given 1 or 2 minutes to answer. I think there are less questions. I think 3 questions are coming now, so it should go a bit faster. Please, give us your views. And as soon as you are finished, please put your cell phone on the table so we can see when the majority is done, and we could slowly go to the next round, well, the next step of that round.
And what you have already realized when you have opened the QR code in the link, now we move away from the status into the future. So what have you heard about? What do you consider of be relevant? What do you think which has to be done? What do you want to introduce but don't have a clue maybe? So I think this is now, we step by step, question by question now in the future. What is the target you're looking for? Are you looking for new business? Are you looking more for sustainability? So this is actually the group of questions which come across. Will it be just an add-on? Will it be of central role?
Many people are done already, so...
Yeah. This is very typical. When we did the World Café the last year, it always took a little bit longer in the first round. Once you're used to it, it's quite quick. And then we can go for the follow-up discussions. What are relevant of business models in your future? What do you think about that? Please have a free discussion. And I'm very curious about the results in roughly 8 minutes. Thank you.
So maybe, so Justin is still here to answer some questions. Don't hesitate to raise your hand. And we as well.
can come to an end of your discussion. If you please could come to an end of discussion. And again, I need 2 volunteers, 1 or 2 volunteer tables who want to give a short result or impression of the discussion. I would say this is much better than result for such a short discussion, for sure. Is anybody willing to share the insights of the discussion? I need 1 volunteer. Musa, raise your hand, please. No. Is there any volunteer? So, please. You're waiting all for dinner. Yeah. I'm hungry. So,
here we have Tommy.
This is very good.
Okay. So from our side, because my company is the technology company, and the other gentlemen, they are holding the spinning manufacturing. So we think for the new business, now the subscription model will be more important to everyone, because in the traditional way, we very used to buy the solutions and then keep it internal. However, when we have the new technology, new data, new method, it's really hard to upgrade it. So if we're using the subscription model, then the data or the new technology, they will just keep update and solve your main problem. And once you don't want to, then you just cut down the subscription. So we think that subscription model is more important for our industry now.
I think this is a very important summary and impression, because once you have an idea what you can do and find a solution, the implementation, the roll-ups, the scale-up is definitely one of the big challenges for every kind of technology you implement in your business. For the sake of dinner, I would love now to see the results, please. Following technologies, artificial intelligence in general is on the leading. Big data analytics, I also am very much informed for that, because it's much more than AI. There are statistical methods, even advanced statistics, data filtration, regression models. I think this is a big issue to improve the quality of your data. Thank you very much. Next one. Yeah, this is promising. So at least by far the majority is open. I think that's also the reason why you are here. I do not know about the people who are outside. I hope for a good future for them. But the majority is open for these business models. Next one. Very good one as well. We see it also, the team, for example, working in our model factory industry for Zero. One of the main driving and motivation factor is sustainability. Sustainable in all aspects, not only environmental footprint, but also improve of labor quality and so on. This is also very good. Next one. Or is it?
This was the last question
for
this round, huh?
We have decided now for the last round, because for the last round we don't need necessarily a big discussion. The last round is very much what framework conditions are important for the digital business model. Remember my talk, it was also A and B, and then here again it was about the framework. So this is very important, and what we would like to do for the sake of time, in order that we all have enough time to have a small chat maybe afterwards, that we can move in a very relaxed way to the bus. So here we would skip the discussion. We can have it among us, of course, and very much for us, for the planning, of the next action and to know about what is important for you. The next questions are utmost important because they are about the framework conditions, infrastructure within the company, for example, lack of framework, all these framework you need for implement these kind of technologies. Protection, security is also always a topic. External partners, I'm pretty much sure you need them. The question is, how do you find the right one? And what shall be, let's say, the focus of the investments, of the actions to take? You're getting more and more a profi. Next time, you are excellent if you go for bingo, parlour, so because you're now a quick responder. Thank you very much. I see the most smartphones back at the table.
Now we are going to move directly to the result. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it possible?
We really have to wait until everybody has answered. Huh? Is there anybody who has not completed the survey so far? Anybody needs more time? I don't see any hand raised. Ah, here we have one. Federico. Yep, we give you a few seconds. Anybody else? Okay, so it's, yeah. Okay, that's it. Everybody, we close the survey.
We close the survey, so please show the results. So the first one was, what is the essence of your company infrastructure for supporting? Yep, so very good is at least, and good is, let's say, 40%, 30%. This is for congratulations, but of course there is a poor or inadequate situation as well. And this, of course, is a prerequisite for the success. Next one, please. And this, especially the first one, is very important. For example, our government in Germany is supporting small and medium-sized companies to improve their infrastructure. So this is, I think, very good to take also national activities. The biggest obstacle, we have had this already in the last round, is shortage of qualified people. This is really a topic which we shall have a discussion at latest at dinner, how to lure these digital natives into our company, in our mature industry. Next one, please. Protection requirements. Well prepared, very well prepared. Well, are you really sure? For example, TMT had 2 cyber attacks this year in the last quarter. And I'm also very curious, we have introduced in our university now advanced tools and still working on that. This is a topic which shall not attract the 80%, but at least 20% of your activities, because this is very important. Next one, please. External partners. It is important, very important. Thank you very much. You have listened to my presentation very carefully, obviously, and this is also my bottom line. So if you would do an exam about AI at my institute, you will get the full number of credit points. So I think it's very important, and it's very good that you're open for that. Look for partners, test them with maybe small pilot projects, make a requirement profile, and I think this is very important, not only the smile of your service provider, but also the competence. Next one, please. Oh, 2 very much results. Most investment, personal, yeah, and infrastructure, sure. That's it. Thank you very much.
So we come at the end, slowly at the end of of the World Cafe. We still have 10 minutes on the clock. The idea now is to make a small summary and maybe to give some information about what we're doing there and how it's a continuation from 7 years. And Professor Gries will now explain what we do with the information that has been discussed here.
Don't be afraid, I won't give you another statistic summary, because all of you have been very much intensively working and aware of what is going on. I would rather more say some words how we take the results further on. As I mentioned, the past World Cafes were always the first step for the next activities of ITMF. And there is, of course, a high wish to work on business models, how to utilize data for the revenue side of the story. And we think about, we are still now in the middle of our AI and robotics seminar, so this will take, let's say, as I saw, 3 or 4 events. And with the turn of the year, we are starting to plan the next webinar. And we will do this in the same manner as we have done it before. So the core team which does the work is clear. But of course, if you are interested in this topic, maybe to fuel in some experience, if you want to fuel in your demands, if you want to be part of the story, we need a pool of, let's say, passionists who support our work. Don't be afraid, it's not much work. We will maybe have a video conference, or maybe we agree to meet or whatever. It's totally voluntary, but I think this will improve the quality of the next year activities pretty much. So, because we feel also that we have to consider, will it be just a webinar, or will it be something else? Because many of you said we have to bring talents into our sector, and then a webinar among the members is just a webinar among the members. So how to bring people in, I think every idea is highly welcome. So you don't have to say it now. If we will meet at the dinner, we will meet at the company tours tomorrow. If you say, well, this is really a topic I want to know more, and even if you have question marks, every impulse is important to steer this topic into a bright future. And again, you will not be, I don't ask you to do the work, this is part of the core team, but to create the right formats and the right, let's say, also experts which we will invite so this is of course highly welcome if you could cooperate in this field as well. So this is an invitation. So now we will take this home. We will make, of course, a more serious analysis of the data which we got from the opinion poll as well. If you want to share your notes, Cedric and also Justin are happy to collect them, because they will make then a final small report which is presented to all members of ITMF then. Thank you very much for all of you. I think the contribution in the opinion poll, but also from the discussion, is very important for us to provide a good service from ITMF to you. Thank you very much.
I would like to also encourage you or invite you to go on the ITMF website, itmf.org, to look at our webinar series. At the past, we already had 2 webinars this year on the topic of AI and its application in the textile industry. So go on our virtual forum, you will find a lot of information. And that being said, now we are very happy to have had this session with you. I think we can conclude, is that correct? So everyone, we will hear an announcement now about the dinner, and then thank you very much for your participation. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much one more time for all participants of today's event. We are glad that you stay with us, And also little information about gala dinner at restaurant Ivon, followed by visit of Registan Square.